What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it's the round 14 review. Um, Look, overall, 2033, down 121 places, so we're really just sort of scoring what we're ranked at, and I don't know. I don't think I've planned well for these buys. I think I have too many dead players, and it's just making things awkward. I think the team's in shambles, and honestly just feels like a bit of a mess. I think we messed up our strategy this year. We tried to go hard early on making early upgrades, and there was a period of time we were ahead of the curve, and I really thought it was going to work out well for us. Obviously, we started upgrading in round 5. We had a lot more lot more mid prices, and because we started upgrading early, I feel like we were an upgrade or two ahead of most people. Um, Unfortunately, we just sort of fell apart. We ran out of money, and that was, I think, the downside of doing this. Is obviously the more premiums you're moving to, or the more mid prices you have, the less rookies you have, and it meant that we ran into a bit of a cash problem a bit earlier, and it meant that when we hit round 11 or so, we ended up sidewaysing a lot of these mid prices that, they were premiums, but they were more like value premiums, and we started sidewaysing them to actual premiums. And it didn't. We weren't really upgrading the team over the last few weeks, and yeah, everyone's caught up and overtaken us, if anything, in the amount of premiums we have. We still have no money, and the team's just not in a good spot. So it's a bit of a rough year. It's not doing too well, but I do appreciate all those that have been tuning in, nevertheless, for their consistent injection of Supercoach content directly into their YouTube feed. I'm going to quickly go over some Game Day Squad stuff again. Look, for those that aren't interested in the Game Day Squad, fair enough. Honestly, I actually just think it's really enjoyable. Obviously, as Supercoach, there's a limited amount of trades we can make, and there's not really too much you can do with your teams. Me personally, I don't even know if I'm trading this week. Last week I made one trade, like Toby Green to Butters, and that was it. And there's not too much I'm really doing on the Supercoach front right now. And I think Game Day Squad's just a really enjoyable game in the sense that you're still doing stuff. Obviously you're unlocking cards early, which is important. But then on top of it, each week I just clear my team. I look at the fixture and I just pick the players that I think are going to be best. And you have to think about it every week. So I don't know. I'm finding it quite enjoyable. So we will jump into it. This is how the team's going to look going into the contender squad. We came 39th for the week. Congrats to Janeth that came 3rd. Roscoe that came, I think, 6th. So really good from those guys. They had an insane looking team, to be fair. And this is how we're going to stack up this week. So we ended up, since we were 39th, we got 3 common cards. Unfortunately, didn't really get anything good. The Sean Mannon I had, when I looked at my team this week, he wasn't going to be part of my contender squad, and I just thought I'd throw him up and see if I could get a value silver out of him, and someone offered a NAS for him, so I was like, hell yeah, sign me up for a NAS. So I made that move to NAS for him, which is really nice. Sinclair we actually hit the field this week because, I opened the packs late last week. Roberts was on his buy. He was the one guy I had, as I mentioned, I had $1 on the account. I don't know what from. I don't know if that was from the NBL or something like that, but I had $1 here, and cool, got Roberts with it. This is how the team looks. I think it's quite nice. As I said, what I've been doing is you just go up, you literally clear your team. I clear all my teams and then just sort of restructure them again with my best players. I think what made Janeth and Roscoe really good last week is that they were running Smith and Holmes with golds or silvers, and just the bonus points on the best players in the game. Obviously, that's going to be something you just can't contend with. Sam Darcy went massive, someone that we had, but I chose not to play. And then this week, obviously, I think this week you kind of stack your team with dogs going into Richmond. So speaking of which, obviously I have Bont, who's not here right now, and that's a little silly of me. I think I will move Bont on. I also made a trade where I got Richards in this week, so I'm pretty excited with that. I don't know when I got Barry. Barry might have been one of the ones I got this week where, he's kind of irrelevant. He's not quite scoring enough to be relevant. But I think Richards is probably one that I field at the end of the day against Richmond. And as much as Cordwell's doing really well, he's against Freo this week. It's actually really hard. I think Bont needs to be put in my team, though. I think that's maybe trolling a little too much not putting him in. As I did mention, though, it's not really Bont's game, this format. It's better suited to more accumulated types rather than damaging types. So maybe we just run with Richards and we just fade Bont, and that's a little bit crazy. Dacos, personally, obviously going into the windy tag, fading that. So I'm happy with Klug. Green into Gold Coast, who has give up a lot of, I think, points, usually to inside mid, so I think he'll just accumulate like crazy. Brayshaw, obviously a superstar. Hewett going into North this week. Obviously tore them a new one last time, so going with that might be maybe the one that you consider against instead maybe a Bont. And Cordwell, who's actually got an insane average, like 120 average. Yeah, he's only played, I think, he's played 9 games, so it's not like he hasn't played a lot of games, and yeah, I think he's just the better than Merritt, so I'm considering that too. I think these are also sort of the spice picks. Obviously, fading Bont here, bringing in Cordwell. McCluggage as a gold is really nice too, so yeah, really good there. The defenders are the guys that honestly score the most points in my opinion. Like, when you do actually look at the stats, defenders score a ton because kicking the ball is just worth so much, and that's what they do. They kick the ball a ton. So Sinclair and Nass and Whitfield having all of those as silver is going to be really, really nice. And having a silver versus a gold, at the end of the day, 2 silvers equal to a gold. They're getting you a 10% boost. The golds are giving you a 20% boost. It's much of a muchness. Like, unless you have like the best 5 golds scoring that week, that's obviously where you get an advantage. Where silvers are more like hedging your bets. You get to spread it out a bit more. And yeah, maybe you have, instead of going for a gold that underperformed, if you make them a silver, then you don't get as punished. And if you make another, then you get another silver who does overperform, then it can sort of even out. And as I said, it's hedging your bets more or less. So yeah, these guys I'm really happy with in defense line. Like, they just look super good. Kind of fading Sheasel this week, which I'm not too sure about. He's going into Carlton though, which are a bit of a harder matchup. And I don't know, it's really hard to go past any of these guys. I guess Roberts would be the one, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna back him in just because I have him in gold, honestly. TDK, probably the iffy one here because he's going in the Cherry, who's a hard matchup. And I think English has a really good matchup this week too. He goes into Richmond, so I think he'll have a really good game too. I guess here is, do you go a Bronze Cherry versus a TDK? Once again, this game isn't as favorable to Cherry, who doesn't get as many disposals. It definitely favors the likes of English, Rowan, and TDK more. So I think I'll back in TDK once again, just because maybe I have him as a silver. Does play a bit into it. And then yeah, forward line, Smith, Myers is obviously great. McRae I think will bounce back. Luke Jackson with Sean Darcy out. There's no way I'm missing out on that. Sam Darcy into Richmond. He's going to kick a bag. He already scored so many points this week. He's just so good. God, he's so tall. It's nuts. And Kennedy's been a goat in this format. Caleb Daniel is maybe the one that's a bit more 50-50, but it just has a good role, and he's technically a halfback, and I already talked about how good halfbacks are. So pretty happy with the game day squad team. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So let's jump on into my Supercoach team. Yeah, but I hope you guys just jump forward 5 minutes if you didn't want to watch it, and we can just look at the team here. So I've already made slight changes in the sense that I've moved players around on and off. But this week, defense was fine. Like, Stewart's score is good enough. Whitfield returning to the half-back line's really good. Dale, great. Zorko, great. And Clark, just, it's okay. It's good enough. Carroll, unfortunately, we didn't have on field. We didn't bring in McCarthy either. He considered it last week, but then with Roberts going out sick, I decided to hold back on it. And yeah, I just haven't done it. And yeah, people got really kissed. That obviously played him. Pedler getting subbed. Hewett, Clark, not a great score, unfortunately. And unfortunately, my team's in this really awkward place too, where like Toby Green really did hurt at the end of the day. I feel like I just need one more trade or 60 more K. It's like if I had 60 more K, then if I want to make moves, I would need one less trade. Where if I obviously had one more trade, it wouldn't matter if I don't have 60K. So the Tom Green kind of losing that trade without gaining anything, on weeks where like Sheldrick goes bananas, Keys obviously went really well. I missed out on the Essendon rookie this week. I don't know, so many rookies have been so 50-50 that I honestly just decided, I didn't need to force anything last week. I thought I'd just chill. Didn't really have any rookies that were priced to go out anyway. They were all at this price where I sort of just need to wait anyway. So yeah, a bit painful to miss him. It would have been great if, instead of getting Pedler a few weeks ago, which I wasn't going to do until Roberts was out, I held back and maybe was able to get the Essendon rookie this week. But yeah, such is life. They're all hindsight things. Yeah, Butters 101 kind of sucks on debut, but it's good enough. It is what it is. Cordwell, yeah, just so good. I really considering starting Cordwell next year. I know we're only halfway through the year, but outside of like his injury games, so look, the 82 was a low game, 84 was a low game without any injury effect. He got injured midweek, but if 84 is the lowest you're going to get, and then outside of that, returning from injury, then he blows up. So yeah, Cordwell, superstar, he's going to have these priced into him next year, which more or less make him value. And I just think he's really good, really like what he does. Saligo, super painful. He had a massive third term, went up like 50 Supercoach points, and I thought, yes, he doesn't have to do much to get to a ton now. He literally scored 0 Supercoach points in the final term. I think technically scaling came in, he went up 1 point, but oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. I really just needed him to get to a ton. And yeah, ended up taking the Gorn captaincy, so still kept that captaincy up. 126 good enough with me. This week I'm thinking Baz into Lions. I think at GMHBA, that's just what you want. Cherry, as I say, good matchup into TDK, so he could be a VC. Maybe you look as a Whitfield as a C. That wouldn't be too bad. I don't own, unfortunately, like a Bont or a Richards who I could throw a C on. I could throw it on Dale, but I'm just a little scared if the dogs flog them too hard that Dale just doesn't actually get involved. I'm sure you guys can also see as well my basketball uniform is on underneath. I got a game in literally 30 minutes, so I'm going to try and speed through this. But yeah, the forward line's a bit of a mess. So what we're thinking with trades here is, obviously, if we look at our premiums, we've got one premium spot here. Technically, if midfielder goes there and a defender goes back, then technically these are the only 2 premium spots left, which means we're on 21 premiums. Meaning we just need to upgrade 2 more to get to 23, and I really want 23. We have 8 trades left, and it's a really hard situation. What I am tossing up this week is Saligo could go to Hewett. Now, I'm only fielding 18 this week with the current situation, which sucks. It does suck. It's not strong. I don't feel good about it. I'm considering, Hewett come in for Saligo. That puts me in the 19. That means that, someone like Clark or Carroll's score drops out. Don't think there's any way for me to loop these guys either, so I just got to sort of... Unless I bring in... but even if I brought him in, then he would have to... I could bring him in. I could bring McCarthy in, and that would at least give me a loop for defense. I kind of need to do it now because I need to move him with Sada Hooley, like right now, so I need to make that decision before the game. I should probably just do. Let's look at that at the end of the day. Pedler should probably just go to McCarty. He's got a 50 break even. Yes, he's got Richmond when he gets back, but if I don't trade him this week, I'm probably trading him next week, unless I'm sitting on my hands. But if I'm sitting on my hands, the premiums we want are probably going to go up in price. I guess I'll talk through the thoughts first of all before we look at anything. But I'm thinking Hewett for Saligo could be a play. That would move me down to 6 trades, as I'd need to go 1 down, 1 up. So with 6 trades, then I still need to get at least 1 premium to get to 22, and another one to get to 23 if I want 23. Now, Bont would be coming around in 2 weeks' time, so I could hold on to Kako, Carroll, Clark. If Kako maybe goes up a little bit, let's just say he gets to 230, Clark maybe goes to 210, and then Carroll over the 2-week span is able to maybe get to 260. So Kako going down is like 140. Well, I say 130 in the bank. Clark going down is about 110. So it leaves me with 240 on top of Carroll. That would get me to 500k. So I would need about another 30 to 40, probably 50k to be safe to be able to get Bont in 2 weeks' time. Now, I guess the only thing with this is if I do go like Pedler down, Saligo up, it leaves me with 30k in the bank, so that technically brings me to 530k. So then it really comes down to what Bont scores. Then we're at the point where it's like if Bont does manage to drop to 5, let's say 50 if we're lucky, we need to find 20 more k. So it's a matter of, can Carroll get that extra 10k? Can Kako get it? Can Clark get it? Who can get these points that I need? So I mean, let's actually take a look at his. What do I need him to do? Is 15 break even for him to get a bit more? If he gets 55, see, even a 55 is only really getting him to this 210. So I need him to score quite well. But if he scores quite well, do I really want to get rid of him after that? So it just puts me in this bit of an awkward position where I don't know if I can get Bont. I also would love Darcy. He just looks so good to watch. Unfortunately, Horn Francis isn't going to come down enough unless he like literally flops this week, which he could, considering he had the shoulder complaint and he's a little bit injured. But Darcy would be the other one, which yes, I could get next week, but if I throw everything at Darcy next week to get me the 22, then I can't get Bont the following week. So that's where it really comes down to. It's like I can only really afford 2 premiums over the next 3 weeks. And the cheap premiums we're looking at are Hewett, Darcy, and Bont. So which two do I want? Hewett's a 50-50. Like, Hewett and Bont is the more unlikely one, and if I play it that way, there's a chance I don't get them both. If I play for Darcy, I definitely get them both. It's just a matter of, do I want Hewett or Bont? And then even doing all that, like, that would cost me 5 trades to do that. So 1 up, 1 down from Saligo. 3 of my rookies out, 2 down, 1 up. It's going to leave me with 3 trades left. 22 players, which, look, I know everyone keeps talking about, hey, let's like focus on someone like a Rowan Marshall. Let's get in a flex player. It's like, guys, we already have so many flex players. Chad Warner's debatably a flex player the way he yo-yos. Rankin's a yo-yo. Petrarca's a yo-yo. Cordwell I'm not 100% confident on. Stewart I'm not 100% confident on, although to go back-to-back constantly. Oliver in the same boat. The problem was this flex position came in and we went, okay, it doesn't matter because your lowest score drops out, so we can afford to bring in some yo-yo players. The problem is when you've got like 5 or 6 yo-yos that are going to be high or low. What happens when 3 of them go low on 1 week? Then you still have to tank 2 of their scores. So yeah, I don't think people can afford to bring in more yo-yos like Rowan Marshall and things like that. But if you're also getting stuck in this position when you're only getting 22 premiums, it's a huge disadvantage, especially if you brought in 6 yo-yos, because all of a sudden you're going to have to wear every single one of their low scores. It's not they dropped 50, but that's fine because it will just cycle out and we won't have to worry about it. No, if they drop 50, you're stuck with 50 that week. So, yeah, I just really been feeling it. This was one of those weeks too where it's like, obviously Rankin went low, Petrarca went low, Saligo not great, Oliver not great. They're the 4 scores that like you'd almost want them to drop out. I think 80 plus is probably acceptable, so you can probably accept Rankin and Oliver, but Petrarca you'd probably, and like Saligo, you'd probably want one of those to drop out, but neither of them are dropping out in this case because I just didn't get the 23 premiums, and it's just really painful. And that's where my other thing, I guess, come in. If I look to go maybe a Darcy and a Bont, the difference with going Bont over Hewett, well, actually, yeah, I guess the difference between going Bont over Hewett is I have to go Hewett this week, where if I go Bont in 2 weeks' time, it allows more time for my rookies to accrue cash. As much as Bont and Hewett might be very similar in price, because Bont's probably going to get close to Hewett's current price, which is $537. So in reality, it's not really going to make a difference. Hewett this week or Bont in 2 weeks, they're going to be the same price. Just in 2 weeks' time, Carroll could have earned an extra $60K. Clark could have earned an extra $15K. Even if I held Pedler over that time, technically he could earn money. He's going into Richmond, assuming he holds his spot, which I doubt. There's a good chance Pedler's going this week, nevertheless. So it's just a really hard decision to make. I think what we definitely need to do is Pedler definitely goes out. That's like, it's just 100% facts. We're going to flip track down because it lets me look at every single rookie. And we're going to bring in McCartan. Now, what bringing McCartan does is, let's just save this real quick, is obviously I can move him with anyone now. So let's just say hypothetically, let's throw Dacos down there. Cool, I can move him with Sardar Hooley. Which overall this doesn't really matter for the middle side of things, but it means that I also get a loop with the Clark and Carroll picks. So technically, as much as I'm playing 18, I do at least get to look at both of these guys to see which one I want to take. So that's nice at least. It leaves me with the 114K in the bank. Now, I could force Darcy in by going like Kako. I'd have to go 2 more people out there, so I'd have to go Kako out plus like a Clark or a Carroll. And as I said, I need every bit of money I can get, so I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to trade these guys that are 160. They just don't have enough money on them. I don't have the trades to afford, like, to just waste on 60K, which is something I did earlier in the year. And honestly, next year I think I don't mind the idea of mid prices, but I think I need to focus a little bit more on the actual guns and rookies approach. I understand rookies also are in this awkward position where, hey, they become subs and they just don't earn the cash that you want them to earn. Yes, true, but the best rookies are always the ones at the start of the year. Murphy Reed, O'Sullivan, those guys that we missed, Sam Palpepper, all the best rookies are at the start of the year, and the ones that come in partway through the year, we can get some good ones. Bice, for example, is a good one that came in partway through the year, but it's more likely that they've got a higher sub risk and just less job security, as well as usually just a lower ceiling. I mean, obviously McCartan and Bice proved us wrong there. But yeah, I think probably need to get a few more of the earlier rookies because they're the guys that will make the money. I still think you need some mid-prices, though. I don't think you can go full guns on rookies. I think you do need a blend of some mid-prices, but I don't think as many as I had this year. I definitely probably went overs on the amount of mid-prices I brought in, and that's why I'm in this awkward position now where even my finished team is going to have a lot of mid-prices. So yeah, look, McCartan comes in, and then it's just like I need a toss-up. Do I go Saligo this week? Do I wait a week and next week go Kako and Clark out for Darcy once they've earned a little bit more cash, which is nice? Darcy likely to drop cash too going into he's going in the Richmond. He could generally drop a 150. He could kick it back, and that would be really, really painful. But he could also just score a nice soft ton against them, and that would be pretty nice, honestly, in my opinion. If he got somewhere between 95 to 100, it's a good enough score where I still feel confident bringing him in, but it's also a good enough score that he should lose, an extra 20 or so K, maybe 15K, and we get him that little bit cheaper with these guys earning a little bit more, and that little bit more cash could be the difference between us maybe being able to get that 23rd player a little bit later. So that's what I really need to toss up here. Do I go Hewett this week, which isn't bad, I think it'd be really good, or do I wait patiently for the Bont? I probably should wait patiently for the Bont, but technically I could get Hewett and the Bont. And yes, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at my turn thinking, but Vern, you need a forward. Not technically. If I brought in Hewett and the Bont, then I'm going to have 22 premiums. I'll just only have 5 in my forward line, which doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if my 22nd premiums is in the flex position or they're in the forward line. I mean, at the end of the day, if I have 7 defenders, 8 midfielders, 5 forwards, it's actually better because the defenders score more points, the midfielders score more points than the forward. If I'm going to get best 22, no offense, but 5 forwards is perfectly viable for that. If anything, that's probably the best outcome. You want 1 less forward if you're going to do it that way. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking there. That would be, I think, the best team. The best scenario is me bringing in Hewett, and then in 2 weeks I get the Bont too. That's the best case scenario. The realistic scenario is that it's a stretch and I need a few things to really go my way for that to work. It gets me the 22 premiums as well. It brings me down to 3 trades. And yeah, maybe I'll end up in a position where McCarthy earns enough money that I can flip him to a 23rd later on. Or maybe he's good enough to hold as a 23rd. I doubt that. That's being very optimistic. And then I can maybe go down the 1 trade, and that doesn't feel very good, but it's, at least if I have a 23rd in 1 trade, I feel a lot better in that sense, because nothing's more worse than someone missing 1 week here or 1 week there, and well, you're obviously not going to use one of your 3 trades on a 1 week miss, but if you have a 23rd, it doesn't matter. So yeah, anyway, that's the team, guys. I will work that out. Which way am I? I don't even know which way I'm feeling. I think I'm feeling more towards Darcy and the Bont combo than Hewett, but I'll figure that out over the next couple of days. Comment down below what you think I should do. Once again, I appreciate all you for tuning in, liking, and subscribing for your consistent injections of Supercoach content directly into YouTube feed, and wish me luck for tonight. I honestly suck, but you know what? I'll try and score some points. Anyway, peace, later.